Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 4-6's NRHA Derby presented by Markel. I'm Steve Ross, and I'm your host of the Sports Desk, brought to you by, as you can see, Hart Trailers. Wow, what a day of non-pro Derby action. It's been second of 3 days here in the elimination round. Easy for me to say. We still have about 40 to go, and Gina Schumacher is still alone atop the leaderboard, not only in the Derby, but also in the 4-year-old stakes of the non-pro Division 2 on another horse. But let's look at some riders who have made some noise today. How about this one? One of the best to ever do it, the great Mandy McCutcheon, 10-time NRHA Futurity champion. This is stopping for Starbucks, and she was a 2:19.5. I love the smart Starbucks. I hope this is a smart Starbucks. One would think so, considering the connections. But Mandy really looked like she had the eye of the tiger when I was watching her show today. Very focused, a really hard run in that she didn't overshow. Mandy never does, but really got her money's worth. Ellie Russell came in, also marked a 2:19 on secondhand smoked. I love these turnarounds to the right. And if you talk to anybody around the barn, the consensus is this non-pro Derby division has gotten ridiculously competitive. For those of you like me that have been around the sport for a number of decades, the exponential growth, non-pro is big as the open now in terms of entries. The horses are just as good, and the riders are so talented. You just see one after another. Here was a great ride this morning from Wolfgang Hammer on Annie's Voodoo Doctor. That was a 2:18.5. Shiner's Voodoo Doctors continue to acquit themselves well. Nice rollback there. It's one area I've seen a ton of improvement on all these riders in the open and the non-pro is the quality and execution of the rollback. Wolfgang did a great job on that. And here's a horse that caught my eye this morning. Maybe my favorite horse of the non-pro Derby so far. And that's You Can Do It, shown by Kevin Ball, was a 2:18.5. See him lose a shoe right there. Still gets stopped, and what a rollback. This horse was just one of those, had a little trouble scotched on him a little bit there. So even with a couple little hiccups, a 2:18.5 for You Can Do It and Kevin Ball, and if there's one to look for that could make some noise in the finals, it's a really good horse. Rides with Nathan Piper. I talked to Nathan after they came out, and I said, wow, is that a nice horse? And Nathan just shook his head, and he goes, yeah, that is a really, really good horse. And Kevin does a great job with him. So the connection's really excited about what's possible in the finals. Now, that's a brief update of what's going on in the Coliseum. We have about 40 more horses to go left today, and a lot of good riders. At the end of those 40, we'll still only be 2/3 of the way through. So if you had to hold a gun to my head and ask me where I thought the bubble would be to make the L4 finals, right now I'm just wildly speculating at around the 2:17.5 mark, but a lot of Reining left to be played. People always want to know that, though. I'd be a lot happier if I was 17.5 or 18. Then a lot of nice horses there at 16.5, 17. I don't know will make it in, but we saw some great horses not make it in the open that marked 2:20s, 2:20.5s, just missing out. Cost of Reining continues to rise. Let's go to the Adequan now slate, two of our open division. And it's good to see SRM Blue Thunder and Matt Mills leading the way with a commanding lead at 2:25. Heartbreak in the Derby division. This horse was marking the same. Picked up a major penalty going to his last maneuver and kept him out of the finals. But it's good to see SRM Blue Thunder come back in the ancillary division. Looking like right now, anyway, he's going to win that big open over there, and that would be another great accomplishment for him and Matt Mills. Carrie Ann Klingenberg showed Everything Is Awesome. She's currently sitting in third place on the Petra Earnhardt ride. And Carrie's my neighbor there in Scottsdale and just does an incredible job. Has really refined her riding skills and just makes such a nice horse. Everything Is Awesome was really good for Carrie along with Daniel Schlomer. They do a great job there at the Foothills Ranch. Finally, currently sitting in third place, or rather fourth place, is Smoking Kalina, shown by Brian Bell and owned by Simon Investments and Brian Bell. God, I wonder if this is some relation to the great Kalina's Chickalina or Kalina's Finest Taffy that Brian was second at the futurity on. Probably for me, his greatest training accomplishment was that ride. That mare wasn't easy. She'd been from a couple other trainers, but Brian got it all dialed in. Reserve champion in the futurity, won over 100,000 on her. So when I see that name Kalina and Brian Bell, I always think, is lightning going to strike twice? That was a great memory. Currently in the over there in the open right now, Matt Mills first place. Bring Daddy's Money and Jesse Ventilli, who is just laying waste to him this week in the Adequan. He's winning everything. He's currently sitting in second with a 221. Behind him was the aforementioned Carrie Ann Klingenberg with a 220 on Everything Is Awesome. And Brian Bell currently in fourth place on Smoking Kalina. They're working the tractor behind us. We're going to get the arena set and go back. We have about 5, 6, 7 more sets left. A little over 40 horses till we close out tonight. You can watch it all on the NRHA's website, thanks to the great folks at ThorSport who have agreed to sponsor these webcasts and make all this reining free for you sitting at home wherever you are around the world. So we certainly want to thank the great folks at ThorSport for their generosity and their efforts to bring this sport to the world. This has been Steve Ross at the NRHA Sports Desk here at the 4-6's NRHA Derby. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning, and by then should have a clear picture of what it's going to take to be a 2026 non-pro finalist. So long, everybody.